I saw this and I had to say something. Something is very wrong with a large segment of society. Where did their humanity go? As the dehumanization cranks up towards, I guess, the singularity that's coming in our lovely smart grid technocracy that we live in, you have people doing some of the sickest stuff ever because they are so gone from reality, so far removed from it, they can't tell the difference anymore when real things are happening to them in reality that's in front of their face. I can't even go into a grocery store without being surrounded by zombies on their phones who can't even be bothered to look up to see what it is they're even putting in their cart. They probably don't even know what they're actually eating when they buy food at the grocery store anymore. And now we have people like this 18-year-old who live streamed her 14-year-old sister's death when she was on her phone. She was live streaming herself dancing on the phone and then veered off the road and then overcorrected, veered back on the road, swerved across several lanes, crashed through a wire fence, overturned her car in the field, and killed her 14-year-old sister. And then she live streamed it and zoomed up on her bloody dying sister's face and said things like, I effing killed my sister, okay, I know I'm going to jail for life, this is the last thing I wanted to happen, okay, I don't effing care though, I'm going to hold it down. She was actually intoxicated and on her phone, so double whammy, and she's live streaming that stuff. That's not what you do! I mean, I'd love to just say this girl was just in shock, but I watched part of the video. I watched part of it. I'm not going to play these videos for you guys, by the way. But you can find them easily enough if you want to see it for yourself. But the parts that I did, I watched the first part. She just seemed high. And she's yanking her sister's body around like it's a doll. Like it's not even a real human being. Her immediate reaction was to film this. That is not normal to have that reaction. And then, because that's not messed up enough or anything, there's a Justice for Abdulia Sanchez Facebook page with a picture of her making duck lips with a gun because, and I quote, Abdulia Sanchez is a child who made an error in judgment is being made a scapegoat for an incident that took the life of her 14-year-old sister, but it is not Abdulia's fault. She should not be held responsible for this terrible tragedy, which says more about our society and what is deemed acceptable. We need to look at society and see where we went wrong and how we can prevent this from happening in the future, but there is no reason why Abdulia should bear the brunt of the consequences. As if something so awful could get more stupid. How should she not have to bear the responsibility for any of her actions in this? At all. I don't understand the argument. Over 7,000 people have joined this Facebook group. The thing itself is already one of the most senseless, ridiculous, stupid tragedies ever. But this is like a bag of moldy tangerines on the dumpster fire cake. And she pleaded not guilty, by the way. It's so weird to me that we live in a society where people will point a phone at a person who's dying or hurt or in need of assistance in some kind of way, and they'll just film it. Like they don't even know what empathy is anymore. Their humanity is completely removed from them. They're just empty vessels of smartphones. What is happening to people? This isn't normal. It's not normal to do. I mean, even if you thought that your sister was beyond hope, wouldn't you try to cover up her wounds or stop the bleeding or do anything but sit there and film it and pose for selfies with your dying, bleeding to death sister that you just basically killed? It's not just her. Just before that, you had a group of Florida teens filming a disabled man drowning and laughing about it and saying things like, ain't nobody gonna help you, you dumb blank. You shouldn't have got in there. And they just watched this guy die. They watched him go under the water and not come back up, and they laughed about it, and they filmed it. And initially, they weren't going to charge him with anything because watching someone drown and not doing anything about it, that's not a crime. That's fine. If you sit there and do nothing at all, apparently they are going to be able to do some kind of charges now because they didn't call the cops after the person died. So they got some kind of technicality or whatever. This has become such an issue, and I don't even know if this is the answer. It's just the point I want to make is that it's become such an issue that in Germany they have now passed laws because they want people to stop filming other people's suicide attempts and putting those up on social media. It has to do with filming people in vulnerable situations and not doing anything to help them. Everyone just stands around and pulls out their phone and watches someone else die. People have become so dehumanized by our modern, technologically advanced society that this is how they act now to their fellow human beings. That is the point. I don't know if this law is the right answer. I'm not going to sit here and argue that. But the fact that it happened so much that the freaking country of Germany had to come up with a law? What does that tell you about the citizens? What does that tell you about the nature of humanity itself? We live in a world where Al Gore has now made a sequel to his inconvenient bullshit movie called An Inconvenient Sequel. And Kid Rock is talking about running for Senate. Basically what I'm trying to tell you is that we are living in idiocracy.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
It is literally here, complete with French fry dispensing vending machines. People talk about my generation being a bunch of jerks, and then they talk about how all the millennials are stupid. I don't believe all of anybody is stupid. I don't think that's fair at all. But there's an overall downward trend that you guys have to admit is going on with large segments of the population today. And it is coinciding with the rise of this technology. And they can't tell the difference between real life and what's on the screen anymore, that they're filming people dying and people committing suicide, and people just, they don't even care. I don't know what to do. Because we don't live in a society anymore where it's the they live signal and it's in a centralized location and you can just go there and unplug it, right? Everyone's walking around and driving around with the they live signal. And they're sleeping with it next to their heads at night, and they're carrying it around with them all day long, and they don't even seem to notice how much they have changed as human beings. Back in the day, when they used all the propaganda to make everyone into a nice, pacified, good little consumer, wow, well, they don't have to do all that much anymore, because it's now technologically advanced. We do it to ourselves. I'm really sad for society, actually. I really am. I don't want to just make videos that are so depressing, because there's so much amazing stuff in the world, actually. But they have completely hollowed people out. It's like the thing that's driving the meat suit isn't really much there anymore, which just leaves a meat suit, right? It's like they've removed people's souls. It's like people are walking around barely human. Barely. How do you get those people to wake up out of their coma?